What is up, car addicts? Welcome back to the series where I build popular Fast and Furious vehicles using cars in GTA Online. As always, remember to let me know down below in the comments what Fast and Furious car you want to see me customize next. Now, today's video is a special one because I have the honor of Craig Lieberman joining me in this Fast and Furious build in GTA, which is something I never thought I would say. I'm sure most of you guys who are Fast and Furious fans know who he is, but if you don't, he was the technical advisor for the first two Fast and Furious movies, plus the Supra and Nissan Maxima featured in the first movies were his, plus the famous R34 GTR in the second movie was also his. And fun fact, he actually had a little cameo in the race war scene in the first film where Jesse races Johnny Tran as the guy who flags the race. That was him in the movie, which is just awesome. So he's the main reason why the cars chosen for the first two films were as good as they were, because they were actually chosen by a real car enthusiast. Now, controversial liveries on the cars were not chosen by him. That was done by the art department, and most of them he didn't really agree with. But he now runs a YouTube channel. So if you want to tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel, Craig.
I built it by telling stories of the Fast and Furious, the early movies, the good ones, the first one, second, third one. I was involved with all the first three, but there was nothing that was really telling the story about the cars, right? You would see stuff on other videos or in magazines or anything, but nobody was telling the stories of cars. How did they come to be? And I had all these documentation packets in files, and my wife said to me, "Why don't you do something with this? You have all these great pictures. You know, cameras were not great back then, but you have pictures, you got video, and all that. Why don't you, become a content creator?" I said, "Because I hate being on camera." And she talked me into it, and I just did it for fun. I started Instagram, then I wrote a book called Crashing Cars. That's on Amazon. You can pick it up if you're really interested. And it wasn't enough. And she said, "You're going to have to do YouTube. You know how to film, edit, and produce. So why don't you just do it? We got extra room here. We build a studio downstairs, and let's do it." I said, "Okay, let's give it a try." I didn't think anybody was going to watch, and now we're 3 years later. It's 210,000 subscribers, and it's not just Fast and Furious content anymore, because I've been in the car market one way or other, playing with cars for 40 years, and I've owned 43 cars in my life. Some of them have been really good. Some have been even some were heroes, some were zeros. But I have had some interesting iron in my garage, and I've had worked for many companies. I've worked for McGuire's, NGK spark plugs, iBox springs, MagnaFlow, Performance Exhaust. I was the director of Naira. Go legit, go get with Naira. That was an actual racing series. There was 11 events a year. I was the executive director of that. I started the Nopi drag race series. I've been counseling companies like NOS, Nitrous Express. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I've had a lot of great experiences in the automotive aftermarket, and I grew up in a time when muscle cars were horrible, and now they're really good. And so I have a lot of experience to share, and people seem to like the content.
Hell yeah. He's definitely the guy. He's doesn't get much more of a car enthusiast than Craig. So in today's video, we're going to be building the Too Fast, Too Furious Skyline from the first movie, which Craig knows very well since it was his personal car. Now, unfortunately, in GTA Online, we don't have a dedicated R34 GTR based car. We only have the Elegy Retro, as you see here, which is a combination of the R32, R33, and the R34 sort of mishmashed into one car. But Rockstar does offer a livery, as most of you know, for this car, similar to the one in the film, and some other upgrades as well. So that's why we're using this one, because currently it is the closest and we kind of have no other choice. But anyways, let's go ahead and start the builds for the Too Fast, Too Furious Skyline with the man himself, who literally built and owned the car, Craig Lieberman. Alright, let's do it. Alright, so as usual for these builds, traditional in all my Fast and Furious and movie builds, I always do max armor and all that stuff, brakes and all that. Now we get into the visual stuff. So, first off here we have a few different splitters. Now the body kit on the R34 was what brand, Craig?
It was C West, C-West.
Okay, and that was skirts and front bumper,
Yep, and the
and the
wing,
rear
and the wing too.
and the rear bumper too, or no?
There was no rear bumper. Oh yeah, the rear bumper. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So front skirts and rear bumper and wing. Wow. Okay, so the front bumper had, I mean, it had like a splitter built into it. So based on these options here, I think the painted extended will be the closest, right?
Yeah.
Based on all these options here.
Yeah, only because it's got that big front, it's kind of scoop kind of thing.
Right.
So that's made pretty much the focal point. You want to get that chin out there, yeah, right?
Right.
So I think
Right.
that's the best way you're going to do it.
Okay, so we'll do that one. Rear bumpers, you have all these ugly diffusers. Now, the car did have part of the body kit, a really nice sort of like diffuser built into the bumper, which looks sick, but unfortunately we don't have that available in GT Online, so yeah, we're going to have to stick with stock for this one. Bumper accessories, so we got the bumper meshes. So your car had the top grille mesh, but not the bottom grille, right?
So you up there in the grill there, and there was nothing there because the intercooler was fully exposed, and then it had the the nitrous intercooler sprayer.
Right. Okay. So in this case, I guess so mesh on top, no mesh on bottom, right?
Correct.
Okay. Intercoolers, we do have something kind of similar to the sprayer right here. This one, intercooler with water sprayer. So suppose this one would be the closest.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Was it would you only get half the bar? I mean, how many?
Yeah.
Is it? If you get the
it's
full bar, it's
way
$3
down
million.
there. It's way down. It's way down there. I was telling Craig about the crazy prices in GTA. He couldn't believe it. Where the Civic is $1 million, and so okay. So on yours, the sprayer sat higher, but on this one, I mean, this is the only kind of option we have, and I guess the reference is there, so we'll do that.
I want to talk to some of these game designers. Give them my number. We got to talk. They need me to be consulting them, because these people are on some really good drugs, or they're just like, oh my god, I don't know what we're doing over here.
Oh my god. Well, Rockstar, you heard it from Craig.
Rockstar, come on, man. You made a bunch of money. CSR came along, did some stuff, blah, blah. I mean, yes, your game is kind of boring. Your game is pretty fun. We can fix it.
Indeed.
First consultation free.
Oh, yeah.
Can you still hookers in GTA?
Yes.
I may give it a second look.
Oh my god. So your car had no headlight ducts, obviously, so we'll keep this stock here.
In California, I like to run around with headlights, because it sometimes gets dark here.
Right. And no wind deflectors, obviously.
No, because I'm not a Japanese smoker. All these guys, all those little things there, are for people who smoke in their car while it's raining.
Oh my god.
That's why every GTR in the world has 4 cigarette burns inside the cabin. Right?
Oh my god.
Back seats. Yep.
So I'm guessing all of them smell like cigarettes inside.
Yeah, that and sake. No. No, they, if you want to know what a GTR smells like in real life, it smells like cigarettes and the tree frog squash air freshener. And if you're a Japanese car guy, you're laughing right now, because that's absolutely the truth.
That's amazing.
It's absolutely the truth.
Oh my god.
And every time I get in the car with the tree frog in it, I feel like I'm back at Daleside, Japan, with Yokomako, who's chain smoking in the rain.
Oh my god.
True story.
Jesus. Alright, so front fenders. We got different fenders here. You got a vented one here, which your car didn't have. Another vent one, obviously wrong. Then here you have the wide angular fenders, kind of like a wide body per se. It's more squared off.
Like a
but that's
Pandem kind of kit.
yeah, but this is obviously way too wide compared to your car. I mean, your car had stock quarter panels, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's about one. It's about 1/3 of that width, the one that you had before. Maybe.
So stock is gonna have to be the one then.
I mean, it's aesthetically it's pleasing. I mean, I like what they did with the car, but the fact of the matter is they're not going to make it accurate because they're going to have to pay licensing fees. And for me to take a look at that, I know that they're making a lot of money in the game and they want to make a look to turn profits, right? But it just doesn't do it justice. I'm sure the designers are not happy about it either.
Oh man! All right.
But for a person like me who comes back into the game platform after 20 years and I look at this, are they just cheaping out, or just do they have people who don't know what the heck they're doing?
Combination of both, I think.
Tragic.
All right, so we'll do stock fenders for this one because this is way too wide. All right.
And since when does inline six have a dual exhaust?
That's a good point I didn't think of. That's a very good point I didn't think of.
Well, what in the hell is that? Is that velvet?
Velvet. It's like a satin or matte red.
Jiminy Cricket, that looks like a velvet jacket that I wore to my 1981 prom. I'm not lying. I got the picture. I'll dig it out for you.
Oh my god, this guy is a trip, guys. He's All right, so the RB26 this is obviously way too big, right, compared to the RB26.
Maybe they welded two of them together right down the center line, which I don't think that's gonna have the desired effect.
But yours of the movie was red, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Not the powder coated sprinkle finish. It was just like a darker blood red, and it was glossy plastic. Right. That's what the RB26 was.
Okay. So unfortunately, because I got to do primary, secondary the same color. So if I do secondary red, then our roof's gonna be red and all that in the hood. So that's not gonna work. So our carbon and chrome's not gonna work. So I guess we have to stick with stock here.
Who is your colorist? Liberace?
Yeah, no. So it's all or nothing. So we got the different cam belt covers. I got the exposed pulleys here as well. But your car just had the stock cam cover, right? With the red.
I don't like moving parts in the engine where I can get my fingers stuck in it. Not that I would do it, but you know there's going to be some kid at a car show. Is that actually real? I'm going to stick a popsicle stick in there just for fun.
It's a big mess. Okay. Alright. So stock cam cover for this one. Strut brace. So this one, let me go to the photo here you sent me really quick. The engine bay. Here we go. So you had, was it an actual Nismo strut brace?
$1,500 for a brace.
Jesus.
And I thought that was ridiculous then. If you can find one, you're going to pay $3,000 for it.
Jesus. So it had the holes on the ends. So let's try to look for one here that has the holes. Let's see. I guess the only one's a light and racing.
It's kind of like that, but it only had certain number of holes.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. The photo.
Yeah, the bar is not perfectly symmetrical. It gets a little skinnier at parts of the bar.
Right. So it's like a hybrid of that and this.
Again, why would these guys, Rockstar, Jiminy Cricket?
Rockstar's getting roasted by Craig Lieberman.
God.
So we'll do the circular one, I guess, as a reference. It's going to be the closest we got here. Yeah, so we'll do that. Max out engine tune. Exhaust. So your car, obviously the way it's supposed to be, had the single exit exhaust.
Yep.
So you
By
got
the
the
way,
chrome tip.
the steering wheel is on the wrong side.
You are correct. Yeah, unfortunately, every single car there's not a single right-hand drive car in this game. I guess it's because of the programming when you press the button to get in the car. I guess they didn't want to complicate things. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
there
why
is a way
not?
to do it.
They're making
Maybe there is a way to do it, but they're just lazy.
they're making $20 billion a year, so why would we bother?
20
Yeah.
billion. 20 billion. Just add
Yeah.
a few zeros there. Okay. So chrome tip, you got the big bore, you got race, and I think and this one. So it's gonna be between all these other ones are wrong. So it's gonna be between one of these four here. So which one would you say be the closest?
That one would
This-
probably be that right there would be fine. It wasn't that shiny, but you get the idea.
All right. Okay. So that's pretty close. All right. So the
The
other
mufflers,
ones obviously.
most of them are round, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean some of them just have bigger tips than others, and some of them sort of like flask outwards more. Like this one's just humongous, it's
Like women,
ridiculously huge.
yeah.
Okay. So
I see
continuing.
that out loud. You can mute that.
Oh, good. All right. So continuing to the grille surround. It was obviously a primary color of the car, so it's not going to be any of these. So we'll stick to primary there. Hood accessories. You didn't have any of these like little lips on the edge there. Nothing like that. Or any
Those
click
lip
catches.
comes from the East Bear kit when you try to turn a GTTT to a GTT to a GTR. So on the hood,
Really?
yeah. There's a company called East Bear, and it puts that little lip there to kind of close up that gap. Because if you take a look between the
Oh.
GTT and the GTR, there's quite a difference in the fronts. You know how,
Oh,
how
I
that
didn't
hood
know
comes
that.
into the headlights and into the front grille. It's very
So they do some of the research then.
Well, this basically right is wrong because this looks like a GT or R33's headlight setup with an R33's hood, right, or R32's hood, or a blend of both. I mean, I just have to look at the pictures. The headlights flow into the bumper as it starts curves around the corner, so it's very GTR. I mean, R33. So, like you said earlier, it's a combination of an R32 or an R33 with some influences of the R34, but very little.
Right. Yeah, very little. Yeah, it's mostly 32 and 33. Okay. So your car didn't have that lip or any of these hood pins or anything like that. So
No, I don't
that's
shop
stock.
at Pet Boys. So
And you had the stock hood, which
Yep.
really kind of surprised me. You didn't do like one of these vented hoods or anything like that, kind of like the Nismos and V-Specs.
nope, because if the car's outside and it starts raining, all my beautiful engine stuff, and you saw what the engine looked like, it's gonna get dirty, and I ain't cleaning that shit.
That's true. That's true. All right. So stock it is then. That's gonna be the closest there. Continuing to interior. So this is the fun but also complicated one. So Craig, give us your honest opinion on this interior.
How did we get into a 1985 Toyota Corolla?
1985. Yeah, Rockstar. The main thing about Rockstar is they love reusing interior models to the
Now,
point
let me get this
where-
straight. They put hair on the dude's hands. They went to that much trouble, and they couldn't take a look at a picture of any R32, R33, R34, and just copy the shape.
it's a bit of laziness in some regard because they don't have that. There's some cars where they do make unique interiors for. Like they have the McLaren F1 in this game, which is called the GP1. That one has an interior pretty close to the real one, but then there's others that just they don't care. For example, recently they added in the Rolls-Royce Cullinan about a year ago, and they gave it the interior of like a 2005 like Chevy Suburban. It's just like a generic old like early 2000s interior in a Rolls-Royce.
But again, I'm going to have to dismiss that because they went to all the to map hair, individual hairs
Oh
on
yeah.
this dude's hand, and they
They
can't
care-
be bothered. Oh my
they care more about the character models than they do about the cars in some aspects. All right, so your car had no sun strip, right? So we'll skip that.
Sunstrip. What is it? 1982 again?
And then the interior, it was obviously blue. But question is, what shade of blue exactly? So I've seen other people do builds. A lot of people go to the ultra blue, which is this one.
That's more of the Supra. The Supra had that. This one has
Oh,
a lighter. It's more blue gray. I mean, that right
like
there.
this one?
Technically, yeah, that's closer. But I would say there's
Light
something
blue?
a little bit brighter. But I don't think you're going to be able to get exact.
No,
That's not it.
no. This is way too bright.
Way too bright. Yeah. And the rest of the seats were not black; they were silver.
We can't do it in this game with this options here, unfortunately. So, light blue, all right. Dash. So here we go back to the interior. So you have the street interior. Your car didn't have a crazy e-brake or different kick panels or anything like that, or any of this race stuff. And then you can make the whole dash carbon so the sun can blind you when you drive around.
Got all those switches over there.
Yep. And then this is just deleted back here when you choose these options, kind of like a
Because
race car.
the last thing you want is a bulkhead between the fire cell and the passenger compartment. Why you do that?
The roasting continues. so I guess for this one, stock dash, right? Because he didn't have any of this stuff. All right, so stock dash. Dials. Okay, so here we have a few different ones. You got this one, this
Right
one.
there. I just want to put a comment in here. I go to a lot of car shows. I know you go to a lot of car shows. I am starting to understand why some of these cars that go to car shows look like they do. Because if they're following the GTA mod, why are you putting a $55 tachometer in the dash of a $150,000 R34 33 2 dash to blah 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 blah? Okay,
A Skyline.
the Skyline. If you do that to a Skyline, turn in your man card. You are not allowed to be around cars in the morning.
A terrible option there.
Just get a Prius and live with it.
So we got these few options here, and we got this one, which I think the dash mounted would be closer to yours, even though it's way too many gauges, but I think the reference is there. Now, something you were telling me earlier, your car didn't actually have the analog cluster like what they showed throughout the film. Yours actually had the digital cluster, but it was never really shown on the film, right?
Right. Both clusters were there. So behind the Motec automatic data logger was that panel that I showed you in the pictures.
Let me look through these. Would any of these are somewhat close, right?
Yeah.
So would you say the shape of this one is closer, or this one is more round up top?
It's a gentle arc. Yeah, that would be, but it would have less lights on the top. So
this one, the one that's more of a instead of the rounded off one, is this one?
I have to look again. I mean, we just looked at the pictures a half an hour ago, and I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Let me pull it up here. Oh, yours was round up top. I see it here in the picture. Look at that. Okay, so it would be more like this one then.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Mark III with the gauges on the side. So it'd be the last option, literally. Okay, well that's easy enough. Okay.
And the screen is a little more blue on the ADL.
They do have colors, light color right here, which we'll get to shortly. I just want to go in order so I don't make sure I don't miss anything. So door panels, I know your car had a super modified door panels. You were telling me that it had like you got a fiberglass custom panel below with custom speakers and all that, and it was painted blue, right?
Mm-hmm. Because the car was painted blue before Universal got it.
Right. So unfortunately, we can't paint the door panels here. Like, we can't paint the stock door panels, that is. So I guess, and no carbon, obviously. So I guess the stock would be the closest in this case. Seats. Okay, so your car had these Sparko seats, which were like the silver and blue, right? So in terms of the seat look itself, let me just go through go through these here, and you can tell me when to stop, I guess.
Can you change the seat colors?
So when you put blue on this car in particular, it forces the entire seat in blue for some reason, except for the sports seat. These it has like the black surround, but all the other custom seats have like forced blue. Yeah, it's more in the GTR world we call it Rockstar Logic as a joke. So in terms of the look, I'm looking at the picture here. Would this be the closest? This one right here, right?
That would be the closest, yeah.
But we can't get the silver contrast on the sides, so I guess we kind of have
proper shape.
It is, but it has the full blue though, so you kind of have to make a compromise and choose. You want the surround or do you want the full blue seat? So I guess, guys, it's up to you. If you want to choose the sports seat to have the proper, somewhat better reference colors, or if you want the actual seat shape from the bucket seats right here. No, sorry, the track seats.
The girl in the background, with the checklist, she's about ready to give up.
She's gonna retire after this.
No, she's like, I just can't. I can't.
So, Craig, which one would you pick if you were building
I would pick this one because it's got basic shape. There's blue. Okay, granted, there's no silver in there or the light gray.
Okay.
That's the one I would probably use. I would also use the green seat belts only because they infer Takata harnesses, which probably were the biggest, the biggest name. The Sparco. Sparco was selected because we had a relationship, and they were cooperating with us with the first movie and then the second movie, and so it did good for them and it did good for us, and we got everything we needed.
No rush at all.
They're all great stuff, but
now there's a few options here. You can see the seat backs are silver. We could choose. So obviously you said green, so we'll skip this. We can do like a Kevlar style on the rear, the back. Or that's pretty much it. So Kevlar at the rear or silver. I guess the silver, maybe to reference the silver on your seats, since we don't have any contrast at all. All right.
Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
I would do
compromises.
Fuchsia.
That's something you'll notice throughout this video. It's a lot of compromises.
Yep.
All right. So steering wheels. So your car had the 2 nitrous buttons with the Sparkle steering wheel.
Sparco steering wheel with buttons that said N20, not NOS.
This will be the closest, right?
Yeah, but
let me see the other ones.
A lot of people put NOS buttons on there. It says NOS. I fixed it. I fixed that from the first movie because the monkeys in the picture car department put the buttons on there and said not NOS. Nobody calls it NOS. NOS. On the second movie, I actually made my own labels and said NTO on all the cars.
Yeah, the N20, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll do this one here. All right, here's your light color. So let's go through these here. You said it was more like a bluish color, right? So let me just go down here to the blues. So just tell me when to stop.
Right, that's it.
Light blue? Really?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
And let me see. Let me show you diamond blue. Is this better? Or would you say the light blue is closer?
All right, this one. Not this one. You're going too fast. Stop right there.
Diamond blue?
That's fine.
All right, we'll do that. Now the gauges, the gauges on the dash and stuff were white, but unfortunately we can't separate the colors.
Right, the whole face was white, only the writing was black, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, okay, so we'll do that. Again, the real car had his car had the analog, the digital cluster, but the ones they use in the movie for all the different shots and the race and all that was the analog gauges, but all right.
And they weren't even hooked up.
Really?
Yeah, they put these things on rheostat so you can control the voltage, right? And then you can make the gauge read whatever you want.
Oh my god, movie magic.
And frankly, when they're racing and you see all that stuff on the video in the movie, the car's not really moving. It's sitting in a studio and they've got a camera on the gauges and the gauges are just moving. Next scene.
Wow. That's ridiculous. And then of course the 20 shifts between, right?
Mm-hmm. 20 shifts. Yeah.
So your car had had a roll cage, so I had like a half a cage like this, right?
Somebody lose their scaffolding? They're going to be painting a house in there?
And you gotta love the bar going through the seat, right?
I'm going to submit that that's probably not going to pass an NHRA inspection.
Oh, did your car have back seats? Oh yeah, it did. I see them here in the picture.
Yeah, let's get back seats in there.
Oh, okay. So it was a different type of roll cage setup. I guess you did more of a clean setup.
Custom made for me, just like my Supra was. And another piece of trivia: if you take a look at the toy cars for the Fast and Furious Supra, the diecast.
Right.
All my car is orange, right? But the car has a yellow roll cage. You know why?
Because the original car was yellow.
Right, and they were too lazy to powder coat the roll cage.
Oh my god. Now something that's really gonna piss you off when we do the Supra build. Spoiler alert: we will be doing his Supra build. I know I already posted a video on the build, but I'd rather do it again with the actual guy that owned the car. And for that one, you can do the yellow roll cage, but for some reason Rockstar linked it to the mirrors, and there's no mirror option to override it. So you're if you want the yellow roll cage, you're forced to have yellow mirrors on your orange car. It's the most annoying thing. But yeah, all right, we got everything in the roll cage and we got everything in the interior department. Lights. So the lights on your car were just standard bulbs, right?
Right. Well, they have halogen.
Okay, but they were not like the blue modern look like this.
In between, it wasn't the yellowish. It's in between.
Oh, so it's like the white color. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the white lights, I guess we could do those in the LS Car Meet or the arena. So I guess we'll put those on later. So I guess white lights for this one. We can't do that in the custom shop here in the CEO garage office. But all right. So the white lights. Save that as a note. Oh, missing the neon kits obviously. So neon layout, front, back, and sides. Then it was the blue. But it wasn't like a bright blue, right? It was more like a normal blue, like the.
It was a deeper blue. There was no purple in it. It was a very deep blue.
So more like this then.
Even darker blue after you could do it.
There's no darker blue here. There's black light that looks like purple.
Not a discotheque.
Yeah. And then there's no, there just really isn't anything that close. There's only a few options here. Theoretically, I could do if I do a custom crew color in a darker blue, I guess that would work. So another note there for the lighting section. But I guess for now we'll just do this blue. Okay. Liveries. All right. So they do have the livery in here. So okay, so this is gonna be the closest to the Too Fast, Too Furious livery. It's called Midnight Racer, Racer, not Razor, Midnight Racer, as a reference to the scene where he goes out in the middle of the night to race. So what do you think of this compared to the real one?
It's almost as ugly as the real one. Well done.
Would you say it's worse?
Well, let's start here. So they took elements of the original design, which was ridiculous anyway. Who puts muscle car stripes on a JDM car? That's number one. Number two, I realized that the logos on the hood were not supposed to be straight, but they didn't follow that hood line.
Oh, true.
It's cockeyed. It's like, just put there, whatever, go. I gotta get this
slap it on.
Get it out of here. Put it on one decal and let's get out of here, right? And then they didn't do the silver overspray. The closest they got to it was.
Oh, that's right. It fades from like a silver from the beginning, and it's like a darker blue. So how'd they accomplish that with the silver?
They put it on the car, right? Trim it to length, wrap it around all the bumpers and all that kind of stuff, and then they tape off the edges like you're spray painting something on a car. They take an airbrush and spray it with silver.
Wait. So it wasn't like actual like lighter colored blues they did in pieces. It was actually they just threw silver on top to make it lighter.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
You got to remember this was 2002. Okay, so doing a printed wrap where you could put all the colors blended into one layer, right? Like my R35 that I have now is midnight purple too. You look at it from one angle, it's gold, another angle, it's teal, Another
Right.
it's purple. Another angle, it's dark blue. Right.
Right.
That's all in the pigment in the rep. That technology did not exist back then.
True.
The Supra graphics were 13 layers, including several layers of airbrushing. This
And they had to
one,
do that for all the cars?
yeah,
Stunt
that's why
cars?
Modern Image was the company that was doing graphics here in Southern California for thousands of tuner cars for years.
Jesus.
Okay, they packed half of their shop up, moved to Florida, so they could have people working on the cars 24 hours a day.
Jesus.
Cars are getting damaged on set, so they have to fix it.
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
Sometimes it got damaged on set because the girls were leaning against the car and crashed it up and all that kind of stuff. So there was all that stuff. The neon lights that we had there, we had a guy there. I forget the guy's name. I remember that I didn't like him, but I did like his work ethic. He was there all the time, working in the humidity to fix all these broken neon bulbs on these cars because they were getting busted getting on and off the trailers. I mean, it was good stuff. It was street glow, That's the best stuff. But they kept getting broken when they go on and off the trailer. So that stuff have to be camera ready at night. And so this guy, and then he changed all the gauges and all the Supras and RX-7s for white gauges and red needles and all that kind. The guy worked his butt off, is what I'm trying to say.
Damn. And you were telling me earlier that the lights on your car were just Velcroed on, the underglow.
Yeah, because I didn't want that stuff on my car.
So it was like a temporary thing that you just wanted to take off after the filming.
Yeah, you see it. You see when Paul Walker slides his car sideways, right? That's the hero car. So
right.
That's it, and they see there's some Velcro and interior and so forth. And then the nitrous thing, we actually made the nitrous fogger work. So if you remember the movie, the car comes rolling through the crowd. Brian arrives, and there's a girl walking by with a short skirt, right?
Right.
And so you see vapor come out. Now, I stole the idea from a Maryland movie I think it was called Some Like It Hot, if I'm not mistaken, where she's walking over a vent on the sidewalk in New York City, and the heat comes up and it blows her skirt up. And I said, why don't we do that with the nitrous system? And John Singleton, who was a colossal pervert, when I say that, I mean it in a good way. He was a man's man, right? He's like a good old boy like us guys, right? So he goes, yeah, that might work. And I said, but here's the thing: it comes out at minus 125 C, so you're going to have to use carbon dioxide rather than actual nitrous. And they did it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's where that came from. That was your idea. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. Continuing here to plate holder. So your car did not have a front plate. You can see here in the images, so we'll remove that.
I've been to Florida, and none of you guys are running plates.
Yeah, no, in Florida there's no front plates, thankfully. License plate rear. So the real car had a Florida plate, and the text was a T4U space 842. So for those of you who want to replicate that, now Rockstar promised us a website to do custom plates ever since they removed our old way of doing it within phone app, but they still haven't given us that. They promised us back in December. We still don't have it. So I can't replicate that plate in the game currently, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to stick with the generic text here, and no California reference script or anything like that. So I think the blue on white one will be the closest. So we'll keep that. And my 4-paw plate, I try to put, it's broken here. I don't know why I keep skipping it. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So I'm gonna have to just keep the generic plate for now. Respray. So the color of the car was House of Color, right?
Yeah, paint code was PBC-42. It's called Platinum Pearl.
So it was House of Color Platinum Pearl. Go back here to regular silver. And maybe we'll throw a pearl on it to bright. Oh, it's already ice white pearl. Okay, so what do you think here? That's too dark?
No, I think that works. That's okay.
That works?
Because I'm seeing, as you roll over the front fender, I'm seeing platinum pearl. I'm seeing.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that'd be fine. So I think you got the recipe.
All right. So metallic silver with ice white pearl to brighten it up as much as possible to show the metallic in it. Okay. We've got the secondary done. So primary, secondary, same color. We already did the trim color, which was light blue. Minus the annoying seats, but it is what it is. Roof accessories. So we have a roof vent on a GTR for some reason. I don't know why that's an option on this car, but yeah, no, it's just.
Where does that vent go? Actually, then
it gives some ventilation to the driver. You know, he's feeling a little hot in there, so when the AC doesn't work, you know, you just.
Yeah, maybe because he can't get his French fries at the drive-thru, they just throw it through the roof scoop.
Oh my god!
Because the steering wheel is on the wrong side of the car. That's something I didn't realize until I actually drove that car through a McDonald's drive-thru.
You have to go in reverse.
No. I jumped out of the car and ran all the way around the other side. Cop pulled me over. I have this ticket sitting right next to me right here. I got pulled over. What are you doing over there? So what are you doing over there? Why is the steering on the wrong side? And it's not on the wrong side. You changed this car? No, it came like this. Oh, come on. You do realize that in Britain, the steering wheels are on the opposite side of the road. Yeah, but they also drive on the opposite side of the road. I said, good point. Which I should have said, it's a Japanese import. It's a world car. So
right.
So that kind of thing. Yeah, here you go, 74 and a 45.
Oh my god. Allegedly. We always say allegedly. Alright, so we got roof spoilers. Your car had none of this crap, right?
Again, I don't shop at Pep Boys.
So they put vortex generators on the Evos from the factory, right? I think the Evo 8 had it from the factory.
Maybe the 9s and 10s as well. My car actually had a proper functioning rear wing.
Oh, you're talking about the rear wing, okay. So roof is going to be stock. We get to side skirts here. So you got a few options. Your car obviously had the body kit with the extended skirts. So we got this one, which I think is completely wrong. Secondary version of that. We got a carbon version of that.
Okay, keep going to the next one. This is closer.
This is the only option. The only other option we got. So I guess it's gonna have to be this one, right?
Yep. In California, that would be ripped off in 10 minutes. But.
Oh, yeah, true. Spoiler upgrades. All right. So here we got all the different spoiler upgrades. Yours obviously had a pretty large wing, so let's just go through them here. Obviously, none of these. Not that. Not this either. That's too small. Not this. Not this either. Okay, guess we're getting warmer here. We got this one. This one has the end plates.
Yeah.
We got this one, which is just a bigger version of this one. Okay. And then this is too big and wide, I think, right?
That was the width of the car. 25, 30 millimeters.
Okay.
That may be a little bit
smaller.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Oh god. Yeah, no, that's.
What is that? The Red Baron's fighter plane from World War I.
Jesus.
That was like the Veilside Combat Wing, which was the most loathsome.
What do you think of this?
I think it's a tragedy.
So Rockstar does this on purpose, I guess.
This is like Hot Import Nights 2001. If you put one wing on a car, two is better, right?
You got the Extreme Street Racer wing, and then you got this one here. So yeah, no, definitely none of these. All right, so I think I guess this one's gonna be the closest, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yours was what colors were on your wing? It was like blue aluminum.
No, it was all carbon, 100% carbon fiber. The risers were 100% carbon fiber. Oh, there was nothing on that but carbon fiber. Nothing.
Gotcha. But the Too Fast, Too Furious one, I see pictures here of the end plates in blue.
They put a decal on it.
Oh my god, they put a decal over the carbon fiber?
We put the blue on the end plates because we needed to put a sponsor decal on their West Coast Custom, the WCC. Given the fact that they did the cars, all they did the stereo systems for all the cars in the movie.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure they got some value for their support, and they did a great job.
Gotcha. All right. So suspension, your car sat pretty high. We have some options to make it lower, but I think that's should be higher than this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in GTA, unfortunately, currently we cannot, lift cars. We can only lower them, so I guess stock is going to have to be the way to go.
They look cooler lower, right? But it's not practical to drive in some scenarios, of course. But they always look better lower.
Right. Wheels. So this is the complicated one. I'm going to show you two wheels that I personally think are the closest to yours based on the photos I see here. And then you can let me know which one you would pick. So we're going to go here to the street category. I was in track, my bad. It's called Pure Business, I believe. All right, so we got these. So it has little bolts on the two.
Let me do this just artistically. My car had 19-inch wheels and a 3-inch lip, and each of the spokes were the right number of spokes, but they didn't go all the way to the end of the outside lip, because 3-piece wheel and the spokes were skinny, and they were brushed aluminum with a clear coat, and that's like a flat matte gray. So I don't think you're gonna get very close.
But in terms of the wheel design itself, I mean, this is decently close minus the coloring, right?
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. You can't get a shiny finish on the spokes, and if you do, you probably have to change the.
Here's more Rockstar logic. You can put chrome as a option for other wheels like these, but you can't put it for these two categories down here where we sort of need it. But all chrome, it wouldn't have worked anyways. Let me show you the other wheel. It is the Endo B2, I believe, or is it the? Oh, sorry, it's the V1. So here's the other one. It's somewhat close, but I think the spokes just come out too far. It doesn't have the little bolts.
Yeah.
I think it's just way off.
Design.
Yeah. All right. So it's gonna be the other ones then. Track, Pure Business, and we're gonna have to leave it alloy. Unfortunately, we can't do brighter silver for paint. That's all we got. So yeah, it's gonna have to be alloy is the brightest. We'll do that.
This thing is on the verge of greatness. It really is. And if they just fixed a bunch of stuff,
Yeah, it's the little things.
Well, if it's a licensing thing, and they're going to have to pay an exorbitant fees to Universal, then I can understand why they were holding back. But there's other video games that do that, right? CSR, but it's a drag race game. What about Need for Speed Underground 37 or whatever version of the right?
Almost all Need for Speed games, right? They have that wheel. Now let's get into the window tints. So your car, it only had tints on the rear quarter windows I'm seeing here in photos?
I don't think it had tints in the back. I don't remember the windshield might have. The rear windshield might have had a light tint, and the rear quarters might have a light tint, but I don't think they had it. And I remember that the front windows were not tinted because this car was doing a lot of car shows.
Right.
Right. So I used to park it open on a power inverter. All the lights in the car were set up, so everything that the ADL was doing a demo program, gauges were doing progress and all that. So they're close enough to it to see it up close, but not get into the car.
Gotcha. So in this case, unfortunately, we can't tint the windows separately. It's kind of like an all or nothing thing, minus the windshield, obviously. So I guess more compromises, right? None, or would you say light smoke?
Light smoke.
All right, light smoke it is. All right, it's done. Build's done. Let's take it for a drive.
See you next time.
It's already out of gas.
It's already been idling
for an hour.
Like an hour, yeah. Okay, here's the color in the sun.
Okay, yeah, that works. That's fine. Yeah. Yep.
Very nice. Here's the interior. You can show it here in first person. You can see the cluster actually works. That's pretty cool there. There you got the exterior view.
I would say this looks like Los Angeles, but there's no homeless people.
There's certain parts of the map that has homeless people.
Yeah. Oh.
This car is in the sports category. It drives very, very nice in the game in general. It's one of the it's just an overall really good handling car. It's all-wheel drive, has all the good stuff. I've covered this in other videos, so I'm not gonna talk about this too much. Let me show the underglow here a bit better in this area.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Look at
All right.
that. That's awesome.
Yep. Okay, that works.
All right, let's let me turn around here, get back into the sun. We don't want to hit a car.
You know, I think they're using GTA in high school driver's education based on what I see on the road, especially for the Dodge guys.
Oh my god. Taking a jab at me, Craig.
No, you just happen to have a Dodge.
So here's
this-
the engine bay we did. You can see it there. It's pretty
Half
good.
of the electricals missing.
Yeah.
Where's my nitrous kit, man? Where's my nitrous kit? No, let me get this straight. They put a titanium prop rod.
Right,
That's
look
not
at that.
even being used, right? They go to all the effort to do that, and you don't put the direct port nitrous system in the car. Scandalous, man.
There's the interior with the half K. It looks pretty good at this angle. Not too
Yeah,
bad.
it's not. Honestly, if I was a young teen, somewhere between 9 years old and maybe 14 years old, I would be all over this, right? But when we get older, we get more cynical. We try to play games that are more realistic. Like my buddies who are my age, 40s, 50s, they still do Forza, Gran Turismo.
Oh yeah, Forza's great. Gran
Yes,
Turismo, yeah.
fantastic stuff, right? And those cars are really great cars. They do a lot of work to do it, but it's a different audience. You got to be honest,
Of
right?
course. Of course.
But this stuff, I remember the
Right.
early days of GTA and people, beating up hookers, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I was like, how is this even allowed?
Right?
I'm like, well, and then the next question was, what parent would just turn these kids loose with these games and not even look at it?
When I was a kid, my parents didn't let me get Grand Theft Auto games. So, I guess a little bit of responsibility there.
My son didn't do GTA. He was in the Gran Turismo and Forza. So it was there for a long time. I was smoking his ass, right, or smoking his butt, because I'm older, old age and treachery beats youth and the exuberance all the time. And he used to throw the PlayStation controller, right?
Oh boy.
When he got rounded up. But then my proudest day is when he was finally faster than me. And then I told him, I'm not playing with you anymore because you're hacking. You got more time than the day to do it. So my kid's good.
Right.
Yeah. He's actually a good driver as well. Anyway, but this
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like a lot of fun. It really does.
Yeah, so this is the texture quality of the truck. It's absolutely atrocious. It looks like a burnt up car or something. So that's kind of a thing with Rockstar. I don't really.
It looks like a flood damage car.
Yeah, they really put that much.
Yeah.
Much,
Well,
effort
it is
into
Florida.
the
Yeah.
trunks.
Okay, I get it.
Oh my god.
Well, show the pictures of my stereo. Maybe they can put that in there.
Yeah. We'll just Photoshop it in there.
Sure, why not? How hard could it be?
Well, that was the Too Fast, Too Furious Skyline build with Craig Lieberman. Something I never thought I would say or have the honor of doing. I can't thank you enough, Craig, for your time on this and then willing to do this with me. It's just incredible.
Well, yeah, I love it. I'm a gamer. I've been a gamer for my whole life. I started on a game called Pong,
Right?
Atari 2600, right?
A long time ago.
Yes, Reagan was president.
Oh my god. Reagan? The actor?
Yeah,
Reference.
yeah. I think these kids are like, what? But I have lived in a great time for the car world. I really have. I've seen the old plastic cars that when they were brand new, right? I got to ride in some of those cars. I'm seeing technology, JDM cars coming to the United States.
Man.
Been exotic cars. I've owned some exotics, and I've met so many thousands of people around the world. I go out and do Fast and Furious talks all around the world, and the fans is the best thing about the whole thing. So
100%.
yeah, it's so much fun.
Man, you definitely lived through the best eras for sure.
I really did. I'm very, 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 very lucky. I really am. So
When then, thankfully, the electric car era is kind of where it's sort of ending for me, at least. I'm not gonna be buying any of that crap, but yeah, sort of
I'm gonna
all the
buy-
good stuff's kind of coming to an end here.
well, 64 Mustangs they still have them on the road, right? And now what is
Yeah.
it? 60 years later, right? Literally. So
Yeah.
that Hellcat that you have parked in your garage right now, what 142 Blaington Lane? That car will still be on the road for 60 years. Maybe not in your garage, but it'll be on the road for 60 years.
Oh, and I take care of my stuff, so and you take very good care of your R35 as well, so. All right, Craig. Well, thank you again. Really
Anytime.
appreciate it, man. Make sure you guys go follow his YouTube channel. So go subscribe to him, watch his videos. He's made detailed videos on the entire Skyline build process and everything he went through as technical advisor of the films, and tons of other videos as well. So if you're a Fast and Furious fan, you need to check him out. He is the ultimate wealth of knowledge, as you can tell from this video. Really, the guy.
Right
So
place
anyways,
in the
guys-
right time.
Right, exactly. Exactly, yeah. That you were at a car show, right? When
Yeah.
when they approached you, yeah.
Some old guy, probably the same age I am now, says, talk to me about your car, and then a week later he's in my office, and 2 days after that, I'm a technical advisor of Fast and Furious.
Unbelievable. Imagine if you didn't go to that car show that day.
Right?
Unbelievable. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video.